Hey, Chrissy here. I am a landscape architect and the owner of Kismet Design. I am a very process-driven designer, and I love sharing what I do and how I do it with anyone who's interested. Reaching your true potential and achieving your own personal goals will not happen by chance. You have to set your intentions, make a plan, and do the work. Thank you for joining me to nerd out on design. Don't forget to subscribe and to share too. Let's create something great together. Well, we all know that you unfortunately cannot learn through osmosis, but you can set up your environment in a way that you get exposure to many learning opportunities. Carrying through the education theme from last week, I wanted to add some additional thoughts and ideas. But before I dive in, it was pointed out to me that last week I talked a lot about my education and unintentionally omitted some details that made it sound a bit cryptic. No secret here, I went to Washington State University to obtain my degree in landscape architecture. So, to all of my fellow alum, go Cougs. Now, on to the topic of learning through exposure. For me, the best education outside of school that I received was through my mentors and being in their orbit. It was amazingly educational, just riding in the car, being a fly on the wall for phone calls and site visits, and observing client meetings. I learned so much that way that no one would ever think to intentionally explain or point out to me. Part of it was that I am an avid observer of people. I like to notice how people react, their tone of voice, body language, and word choice all tell a story. Nevertheless, additionally, I also ask a lot of questions. I'm sure I've annoyed many of my mentors over the years with incessant questions. I can't help but want to know more. Kind of like a toddler incessantly asking why, until they're satisfied that they have dug deep enough and exhausted all information. I'm energized by analyzing things and love asking questions. Even more, I love being asked questions too. You may or may not have the opportunity to work in a larger firm environment with exposure to multiple designers at varying levels of experience, like I did. Regardless, there's a lot that you can do to orchestrate your environment to reap those same benefits. The biggest one is being part of an organization. APLD is a great organization of landscape designers. There's also ASLA, WSNLA, NLA, and countless more. Each state and region have their own unique organizations in addition to the national ones like APLD and ASLA. Now, it's more than just being part of that organization. You have to be an active participant. Go to the continuing education classes offered. Join in the networking events. Go to the garden tours. Make friends. Meet outside of those events to run ideas past each other and to share. You never know what glimmer of information you may get just by an offhanded comment or photo shared. Additionally, I immerse myself among fellow business owners and creatives regardless of industry. Not only do we have a common interest, but there are so many that are industry agnostic. Most business owners love talking about their businesses. For most people, their business is their baby. We've all met that new mom that can't shut up about how cute their baby is and how it rolled over for the first time. Then the photos come out. Well, business owners have much the same enthusiasm, as long as you catch them on a good day. Be cognizant to be sensitive to the questions you ask, though. Not everyone is comfortable sharing all of the details about their business. Another great way to expose yourself to beneficial opportunities to learn and grow is to collaborate, especially for so many solopreneurs in the landscape design industry. Business can get a little lonely. The opportunity to collaborate and work together can be really fun and open you up to new ways of working and new ideas. There are some details to work out to make sure it works well for everyone, like who is the project lead, who is responsible for what. Do your processes, deliverables, and production methods align? Even just talking about some of those things with your fellow designers can be super informative. I've had the opportunity to work with a few other local designers, and it has been great. Just recently, I collaborated with a fellow designer and friend to help me with some site visits for a project that, well, it was raking up the drive time for me. She lived near that project site and was more than happy to collaborate with me so that I didn't have to drive to the project multiple times a week. It was great, and we are already planning our next collaboration. Actually, for those of you that are avid listeners, she has been on the podcast before. That fellow designer and friend is Sarah Van Sanden. I should really have her back on the podcast soon. If you haven't listened to that episode already, I will link it in the show notes. It's episode 11 on taking the leap into business ownership. It is quoted over and over, but Jim Rohn says we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. While that can be debated, there is a lot of truth to it. There are people who bring you down, and there are people who build you up. Surrounding yourself with the latter, you will go further, faster, and have a better quality of life. Last but not least, on the power of environment is your physical surroundings. This can be from your office, your car. If you're anything like me, you do spend a solid chunk of time in there, or even your home garden. Setting your environment up for inspiration as well as productivity and efficiency can really make a big difference. Even just cleaning my office gives me a huge boost in my mood, and I can focus better without all of the physical clutter bogging me down, adding to my mental clutter. Processes and systems can be physical too. I organize my files in my office in order of my design process. New clients are in one spot, the next is current clients, and then last is past clients. Even within that past client folder, it is organized by 6 and 12-month check-ins, and in the back are the files that need to go into storage. On the surface, it might not be apparent, but it does wonders for helping me to find things quickly. That is, as long as I follow the system and put things in their place. Going for a walk and taking notice of what is in bloom, how things are performing in the garden, all add to the continuing education and understanding and experience of being a designer. Visiting local nurseries and suppliers to see what's new, how things look, what things may not be available anymore. All of those things add to what is most current and most relevant for you to incorporate into your designs. Even just growing things on your own. The plants that I have grown myself in my own garden, I have a much deeper level of understanding. Rightfully so. I break all the rules in my own garden, as I'm sure you do too. Those site visits to local nurseries often end up with a couple things being brought home for me. And more often than not, I'll look at something and say, you know what, that says full sun, but I'm going to put it in dense shade and see what happens. You'd be surprised at some of the rules you can break when it comes to reading those plant tags. The power of the influence that your surroundings have impacts your everyday life. It impacts your work, and it impacts your confidence in your abilities and how you work and how you interact with clients and colleagues. After all, isn't that what we do for our own clients? We design spaces that inspire them and feel good to them and bring them peace and joy and allow them to gather and collaborate with their friends and family to boost their environment. So reach out and let me know what you do to boost the power of your environment. To wrap up, I want to thank you for your time. I hope the ideas discussed today have left you feeling excited and energized. As I build both my business and my life, I value the support and feedback you provide. I would love for you to reach out to me to let me know what you think, give me ideas, or just to connect. Please don't forget to subscribe and also share with a friend. Until next time, go create something wonderful.